What's up, guys? Jeremy Conn here. It's the Lowdown. It's all brought to you by Pickdawgz.com. Make sure you're checking out all the premium plays over there. Hit the like and subscribe button. That helps us out. The notification button to let you know every time one of these gets posted. I've been updating everybody on Monday. I think Monday or even Tuesday morning, since I record a day ahead before I go to the doctors. I may record one on Monday morning before my surgery, but we'll see how it plays out. But there will be a bit of a hiatus where I will miss easily 2 weeks. I'll still be posting premium plays, so you guys can check that out there. And as soon as I'm able to talk, I'll look forward to coming back and trying to do this again and getting this thing rolling right before football season. Today is one of those interesting days just because we have 3 baseball games. It is the MLB trade deadline, so there'll be more exciting things going on off the field. And then we have the first NFL game, which everyone I hope you guys are the same way I am. You get so excited to watch it, you turn it on, and you're like, this garbage? This is what I waited all the time for? The Hall of Fame game, usually you don't see many of the stars. But there is something about this game that I'm intrigued, and I'll talk about that because I'll go over the first game. I'll give a lean for it. I don't bet preseason football, as I told somebody else actually today when I was talking about it. The only thing I would have bet in preseason was the Ravens on the money line because there was a period of time, and you can't tell me any different. Maybe Jim Harbaugh is the same way with the Chargers, but John Harbaugh loves winning preseason games. And here, I'll tell you a story about those two to just tell you how competitive they are. We had a couple different, we call it the Castle here in Baltimore, the Ravens facility. I mean, it is ridiculous, all the stuff they have there. Their facilities are off the charts good. So they do some of these things one of the things called the Liars Luncheon, where right before the draft, they bring in, the GM, the coach, some scouts, and you're allowed to ask any questions you want. And they call it the Liars Luncheon because you don't really believe anything they're telling you because they don't want to give away too much. And the ironic thing is sometimes they're telling you the truth and you just don't know it because of how they mix it up. They also have these off the records with John Harbaugh, and where you go in and he tells you some stuff that you can't use on the air. It's off the record. So, but one of the stories he told when I was at one of the Ravens luncheons, I don't remember what it was, we were sitting at the table, was about he and his brother and how competitive they are. And when they were growing up, Jim Harbaugh was a pitcher in Little League and super competitive. He played a team that had a girl on the team. Yes, baseball back then, there was a girl on the team. And Harbaugh did not want to give in. Jim Harbaugh did not want to give in. So the way that the story was told is that he was adamant that she was crowding the plate. He ends up hitting her. He beans this girl. I shouldn't say bean because a bean is when you get hit in the head. But he hits her, and of course the waterworks starts. You see all the tears and everything that's going on. And then he gets kicked out of the game for hitting her, and he just starts screaming she was crowding the plate. The only reason I tell that story is these guys are just so competitive. Whether you like him or not, I'm not the biggest John Harbaugh fan, but he is a competitive SOB and likes winning preseason games. There are some guys out there that are really good with preseason and feel like they have an edge. I think it's more of a crapshoot just because you don't know how long starters are going to play. Yeah, you could look at a team like Cleveland and say, hey, at least they're going to have a quarterback that's going to be playing its ass off so they can get an opportunity to start with the 4 quarterbacks they have on their roster. And say, oh, I like that situation, or I like this quarterback and the rookie behind him. I watched him in college. Like, people do that and try to bet the games. It's just kind of it's really a crapshoot. One of the other things to point out with football and in preseason, again, just looking at it, I know a lot of guys play DFS with it as well. Ton of research out there. There are plenty of people doing great research on preseason football, and some of it's free. Just got to search for it and find it. If you are one of those people that bet preseason, you won't see me posting any preseason games, period. I don't like it. I don't feel like I have an edge on it, and there are other guys that feel like they do. Going back to baseball on Wednesday, I swept the board in baseball. I went 4-0-1. I missed the WNBA games, which was just a pisser, man. I was way off on both. Frustrating. And going 4-0-1, I got really lucky in the Phillies game as the White Sox scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 9th. But I'll take it after all the other stuff that went on. The Dodgers and Reds, I love the over there. That was my push. As the Dodgers and Reds tied it up at 4, and then if it's 9, you're like, I can't do any worse than tying. And, of course, you end up tying instead of sweeping the board. But the Braves over was really good to me. I liked the Giants under yesterday. I liked the Angels. They all came through. So just overall a decent day, and I went 3-1 in my prop bets as well, even though I don't, kind of sell those here. Every once in a while you'll hear me talk about it whenever I'm doing the morning show or any of the other shows. So, all right, let's just get into this. Let's start off. I want to start off with preseason football so I can knock this thing out. We got the Chargers at the Tigers. This is the Hall of Fame game. Both teams getting somebody in the Hall of Fame from their roster. The Tigers, did I say Tigers? Jesus, I do have baseball in the mind. The Detroit Lions. The Chargers and the Lions. Lions are -1.5 right now. It's a total of 32.5. I'll tell you this, if I'm ever talking about preseason and I'm going to give you a lean, I lean towards the unders all the time here. Everybody looks at those numbers and say, oh my God, it's too low, and ultimately we end up seeing ugly games. The 16-6 games, the 23-3s, I would lean towards the under here. The one thing I would tell you guys to keep your eyes on is I think Omarion Hampton, the running back for the Chargers out of North Carolina, I think he is a viable Rookie of the Year candidate. And I know anybody's saying, if you're going to talk running backs, you got to talk about Ashton Jonty and how good he is and what he's going to do. Yes, I'm listening to you. He is a far superior back. He's a bigger back. But I think in Greg Roman's system, with Omarion Hampton and how much they're going to love running the football, he is going to get a lot of opportunities. J.K. Dobbins isn't there anymore. He's in Denver with another interesting running back in R.J. Harvey out of UCF. That kid can really go. He was basically Central Florida's offense. And one of the reasons betting over is I was watching him. Is like, is he going to get me 3 touchdowns? Is he going to get 4? So I do think Omarion Hampton's an interesting flyer for Rookie of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year, that is. And I would keep my eyes on him. He's a guy that I'm definitely targeting in some fantasy drafts as well. So my lean would be towards the under here. Again, especially in this Hall of Fame game that's going to be ugly. There's going to be so many names in the game of guys you don't recognize. And the offense and the defense is so vanilla that I don't worry about them scoring as much as a lot of people are going to think they are because it's the Chargers and Lions, not the Tigers. The Tigers are in baseball. I know that. Yeah. All right, let's get to the baseball games. We got the Rangers at the Mariners. That's the nightcap. Kumar Rocker versus George Kirby. 75 degrees. They could open the dome. We have 2 situations today. And again, I don't know that I'd be on any of these games except the free play that I would give out. We only have 3 to choose from, so it's I'm going to talk about all of them. I was going to try to give out a prop play, but it's too hard to give one out the day before knowing that anything could change. I could sit here, I woke up today and I'm like, oh, Bobby Witt to get over 2 bases looks like a juicy bet. And then I went and looked at him. Was it Bobby Witt? Yeah, Bobby Witt. And he was -230 to get over, 1.5 bases or 2+. And I said, Jesus, who's he facing? And it was a Braves pitcher bullpen game. And yes, I think he gets it, but I cannot bet a prop bet, especially when you could get walked 4 times or, get hit on the wrist and leave the game. Like we've seen that. Byron Buxton did that to me earlier this year. I think with the Rangers and the Mariners here, I'm going to lean towards the under with Kirby and Rocker. Rocker has just been dreadful. His ERA over 5. It was over 6 at one point. His whip is right around 1.5, which means he puts 1.5 base runners on per inning. So you can do the math. Here's 1, there's 2 on, here's 1 on, here's 2 on. It's a recipe for disaster, but I'm still going to tell you to take the under. I think Kirby's starting to figure it out. George Kirby to me is a pitcher's pitcher. The same way I talk about Kirby's the same way I talk about Logan Webb. I think the guys are just fantastic, and I would take 5 of those guys on my team in a heartbeat with just how they go out and how they go about their business on the mound. But I would lean towards the under here. And again, I'm just going to tell you this is not a play that I don't think I'm going to be on this game. I want to dive deeper into it and see if I find any value on Thursday or today. I don't want to make people think, because when I have my chance to pick from 4 games, at least I get to pick some games that I am kind of interested in, or if I think there's an edge weather-wise, or if it's just a pitching matchup I really want to talk about. But today, 3 baseball games and the 1 football game. The thing I'll have my eyes on most is the MLB trade deadline. Let's go to the Reds and Braves, and this is always intriguing when these teams meet up because it is super humid in Cincinnati. There is rain in the forecast. There's wind all over the place. It's why I want to check it on game day, because right now as it looks, the wind is the first hour, it's blowing in. The second hour, it's left to right. The third hour, it's blowing out to right field. I don't know that it's going to be a huge bump for anything. And again, the wind isn't blowing all that hard, but it still could be a factor. And right now, this is the one where we don't know the pitching matchup per se. I looked at the Reds website, and it said Andrew Abbott is supposed to be the guy here. And it says TBA on the opposite side or TBD, but just kind of doing the math and looking back at it, it should be – look back at it anyway. It should be Grant Holmes going for the Braves. I'm going to lean towards the over here, even with Andrew Abbott, even with Ronald Acuna Jr. getting hurt, which just sucks. He's got some Achilles tendonitis or something he's dealing with. But, yeah, I'm going to lean towards the over here in this spot because, again, I've talked about how humid it gets in Cincy when the ball carries. I'm not afraid of Andrew Abbott, even though he's pitched great this year, and I'm definitely not afraid of Grant Holmes. This Reds team, I mean, it wouldn't shock me to see one of these teams put up the runs themselves. And I know this Braves team, depending on, they made that trade, Fetty pitched the other day, so their rotation might be a little wonky right now. I think it's going to be Grant Holmes, but we won't know until they finally post the starting pitcher. And again, the lean would be towards the over there. The free play is going to be in the Yankees and Rays. This is another one of these games where, just looking at it, 85 degrees, the wind is blowing in at almost 10 miles an hour. So that is a huge help to the pitchers. And, you know, as we start to look at the matchups we have here, I'm just trying to pull this up real quick. Sorry. Because this is the early game. This is the 1 o'clock game. So you could have shadows that have an effect on it. We are at Yankee Stadium here, and we've seen the battles between these teams. I'm going to lean towards the under, even though it's not my favorite pitching matchup. With Aaron Judge out, I think Pepio can help keep the Yankees at bay. I also look at this, the wind's blowing in, being a fly ball pitcher, it's going to help out. Marcus Stroman, kind of the same thing. He can get his ground balls. And against this Rays team, I thought I was going to be on like Junior Caminero over 1.5 bases, and I may end up being on that. But with the wind blowing in, I like taking my chances on when I think it's going to be a high-scoring game and we've got wind blowing out, or I find something that's a huge bump to bats. The heat will be, it'll be fine there. 85 degrees is what I'm seeing. I don't know if I said that right with my glasses off. But my free play is going to be on the under there. And I just think, Ryan Pepio, Marcus Stroman, it's not the greatest pitching matchup. Pepio is better than most people want to give him credit for. And Stroman, I don't know what to think about him at this point of his career, but I have no problem backing these guys in the bullpens in this spot, especially with the wind aiding the under here. So free play would be the under. All right, guys, I'll be back tomorrow with another podcast. A full slate to go over, and I'm going to continue this all throughout the weekend. But again, I'll keep updating you guys, and sorry I sound like a broken record. I'm not out there fishing for compliments or anything or any well wishes, but I do appreciate all the ones I got. That being said, this is interesting. I don't know what to expect come Monday. I don't even know when I'm going to be able to talk. So, yeah, I'm a little anxious about it, but just ready to get this damn thing over with. And I was so happy I was able to move this up so it didn't bleed into football season, because such a big time of year. And, football, not even just pro football, but college football for me, oh, man, I love it. I love the island games on the weeknights. I'm all about some action. So it's going to be a fun football season, and I can't wait to work some stuff out with you guys, kind of. You can see where I'm going with things, what I look at. Oh, one of the other things I should probably tell you is my plays for Wednesday, in case you want to go back and look and see how things went. I did like the Seattle Athletics over at 9.5. I know a lot of people stayed away from it because it was Brian Wu. I was trying to tell anybody that would listen to me, Tampa Bay and New York, over 9, best home run hitting weather on the day. And, oh, what's that? The guy that gives up the most home runs in baseball. He's pitching in this game. So, yeah, I kind of like that. It sucks that Aaron Judge isn't in that lineup, but the Yankees can still score some runs without him. I like Giancarlo Stanton over 1.5 bases. I like the Orioles and in the noon game or 12:30, whatever it was. I think they have a 4-game sweep of the Blue Jays, and that's not me being a homer. They do this crap all the time where they'll tease you just enough and say, see what we could have done if we had just hit the baseball earlier in the year. So, but I do expect them to make a ton of trades today. And again, as I'm recording this, I don't know what they've done Wednesday night, but I know they've already traded 3 bullpen pieces. And I fully expect the Orioles to make 4 more trades, at least. And some of the other games, I did like the Dodgers and Reds to go over. I went back to the Phillies and White Sox over. I thought that was interesting. And I really liked Julio Rodriguez in that matchup later on this evening against the A's. Again, I know a lot of people want to be against that because of Brian Wu. I'm one of those guys that I'm not afraid to attack the star pitchers in this league if the hitting spots are right, because depending on how things go, you don't know how long you're going to see them. And even the best pitchers in the league still give up some runs unless their name's Tarek Skubal. Even he does it too. So, but yeah, I look for those spots, and again, if it's the right one, and if all things meet up, and the three things I'm always looking at it meeting up, where the money's going. So I love fading the public. I love being on the opposite side of them. It's not like I solely go out and say, oh, I can only be on the opposite side of the public. Not that at all. But anytime everything matches up, that means the weather for baseball, and my weather algorithm likes the game, and then I start looking at my algorithm and the baseball players, and I'm seeing all the hitters from one game, or all the the pitchers being ranked higher, or somebody that you didn't expect to be like the best pitcher. Like Mackenzie Gore was ranked, not that I don't expect him, he was ranked as the number 2 pitcher for Wednesday, and his name's in the trade market, and that'd be a guy that I'd definitely kick the tires on, or a Joe Ryan, but we shall see. So I like throwing out some of the plays, and I did like the Minnesota Lynx against the Liberty to bounce back after they lost their home game to the Dream, but Minnesota at home has just been money this year. So good luck, guys. Again, I'll be back tomorrow. I've rambled long enough and probably wasted some of your time. Appreciate you guys watching. If you want to check out the premium plays, just go to pickdawgz.com. I usually put up a triple play. I know today's going to be very light. I may have one play. I may not have any. But on Friday, you can bet your sweet bippy I'm going to have a bunch of plays, because I've already started looking at some of the stuff ahead of time. And I want to see what happens after the trade deadline, and if there's any teams we can attack, especially, again, the Orioles traded 3 bullpen pieces away. The guy they went to last night, last night to save the game after trading Sir Anthony Dominguez to the Blue Jays, he couldn't get the gate open to come out of the bullpen. He was so nervous. And then they even came out because he couldn't throw a strike, brought a towel out to dab his head because he was sweating so much. So, yeah, there are advantages to be had even after the trade deadline. So we'll try to talk about some of that tomorrow. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll be back.